afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you are and from wherever you're watching us from. My name is David Lubuurwa and I welcome you to Uganda Crossroads. Now, last week was a very interesting week in different ways. Of course, in politics, things keep on, changing. Sometimes we review the history, like in the current affairs. We see people being arrested, others joining politics, others quitting politics. So it's always the same. And same stories in Africa. So the same way it happens in Uganda, sometimes it happens in other countries, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa. But because we're at Uganda Crossroads, we focus on exactly what is happening in Uganda. And I want to welcome you again to this show this Saturday. From wherever you're watching us from, thank you so much. Now, a few things that happened last week in Uganda. We saw Bobi Wine was arrested and later released. We saw very many people nowadays are missing. We don't know what is going on because the government still continues to say that, well, we have enough security in the country, so we respect that, but people are missing. We also realize there are some journalists who are being banned from airing out their views because the state believes they are contradicting with what they're asked to do. And of course, Uganda Airlines still on the lips of people in Uganda. So among other topics that happened that really made headlines last week are the things that we always come here every Saturday to discuss. And tonight the house is full. We have Sarah Joy back in absence in the house. Hamani is back in the house. Sylvia Kaku is back in the house. Hillary Taylor is back in the house. So the house today is full, and of course we have so many things to talk about. Now, guys, we have seen you several times, so today I'm not giving you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. I believe people really now at least know you. Let's go straight to the point. This week we've just, CFTV, we've just learned that one of Uganda's greatest political bloggers, Ashba Kato, is missing. And we tried to follow up on the story. People are telling us they don't know where he is. However, some information tells us he's somewhere, though they're not sure of where he is. And today, Sarah, while I was going through some of your posts, you mentioned about Ashba Kato missing, something that really showed us maybe, do you have any information that is going on with the missing of such a very talented young man in the politics of Uganda?
Good evening, viewers. Is it good evening?
It should be good afternoon or evening. It depends on the area.
Where I am, it's afternoon. In Uganda, it must be, in Africa, it must be night. So I would say good evening to people in Africa. I know we have so many people who follow us from Africa. People in the east and west coast, it's good afternoon to everyone. It's been an interesting but a shocking development because personally, I spoke to Ashbag on first at night, and on the next day, that was when Bobi Wine was supposed to be brought back to court for the hearing of his bail hearing. And from the information, because yesterday, I think about in the afternoon, one of his closest friends sent me a message and said, Ashbag is missing. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, he did not make it to court, but he left home. So I'm like, he did not make it, maybe he's home. So they looked for him, home is not there, so they confirmed he's not home, and he did not make it to court because I called some of the people, power activists who are in court, and did not appear in court. So yesterday the search started at all police stations around, and all police stations, he was nowhere, and then they had to put up a missing persons report at Namasuba police station. And the search continued until today when they had to use someone. Now, because when the search failed in the police stations around, if we were told maybe it could be Nagalama, and then it came in that sometimes when the regime kidnaps people in that way, they keep them in military detention. So the search continued in military detentions. We checked the likes of Umbuya and those surrounding. And then someone from within gave us information that it's true. He's being kept in Mbuya, but he has been beaten. So they've been moving him between Mbuya and Kololo since Thursday. They've been taking him to Kololo, whatever destination. I don't know if they have a safe house in Kololo, but they have I don't know where CMI sits, whether it sits in Kololo. So they've been taking him between CMI and the barracks. and they've beaten him. In fact, one of the things he told us is like, you know, go to court and get an order so that he can be taken out of the military detention and taken back to police if he has anything. And then further, the developments that came up, that is being, the instruction to detain him were, it was instructed by Muhoozi to arrest him. Because prior to that, Ashburg has been followed, he's been trailed by UCC. Yeah, because... the other time he was kept captive in UCC offices for 8 hours. They took over his phone, and they wanted him to come for it, but we all knew they were going to bag the phone. But they've been trailing him for a while. Some of the reasons they've been giving is they claim is running Ghetto TV that is unlicensed, but I don't know how an online TV can be licensed. They don't have an office, it operates, the fact that he pays data is enough to do whatever he does. And then the biggest issue for them with UCC was he covers events where Bobby Wine is being arrested, and in that is inciting violence. So I do not know why they want really to arrest Bobby Wine when no one is watching or no one is seeing. Because these are things Ugandans must see, Ugandans back home and abroad. Because if you're going to arrest Bobby Wine in an unlawful manner, we need to see. You've seen how they've broken window screens of his car. So the police or UCC doesn't want the world to see that. They want to beat up Bobby Wine, they want to beat up people around him, and no one should be able to see that, because I do not know really what are their intentions. But what caught me was, I do not know because right now, as I'm here with you, as the page for Ghetto TV has been taken over. They've hacked it. It is now if you go to the page of Ghetto TV, they are posting what M7 is herding his cows in Chibogo somewhere. That's what they're posting on Ghetto TV. They are so shallow. I do not know the shallowness of this government. And on top of that, I was really interested in why did Muhoozi give the order to have Ashburg arrested? Because for me, it comes down to Muhoozi is really scared. Muhoozi would have been groomed. I've just put up a post and said Muhoozi would have been the perfect next to President Museveni, because Museveni would have groomed his son. He's a graduate from Stanhart in London. He has all the military, honors on him, but Muhoozi is a drunkard. So why is Muhoozi arresting everyone around Bobby Wine? Is it because that he cannot take over? Is he scared? Because Muhoozi would have wanted to be president. But Muhoozi cannot be president. Even his father cannot trust him, because Museveni would have groomed Muhoozi long time ago. Muhoozi is a drunkard who cannot even be trusted who cannot take up grooming, or cannot be trusted with a big office like the presidency. That's why you see Museveni is clinging on power. Because at 75 years, he would have groomed his son, and Muhoozi takes over. But now Muhoozi is scared. Muhoozi would have wanted all these young people to be behind him. But Muhoozi cannot stand somewhere and you have maybe 100 or 200 young people around him, chanting his name. So he's really so scared, because first of all, he knows his father is going. And because Museveni is going, Muhoozi is playing all these games of arresting young people who are supporting Bobby Wine and keeping them in military detention. I don't know what information they want from them, all they think they can get from them. But I'm telling you, you cannot, the nose is already bleeding. There is nothing much you're going to get from these people. They did the same to Eddie Mutwe. They kept him away. They kidnapped him from Kampala, kept him for so many. We started looking for Eddie Mutwe. Later we found out he had been kept in Imbuya, until when we put up a court order and he was brought to the police station. Okay. So that's what we are doing right now. The lawyers are working on it to see that on Monday he's taken away from Imbuya and is taken to a police station, where from then we will be brought to court knowing the charges. Because right now he's being interrogated. We do not know the charges, apart from what we know that UCC was interrogating him for covering Bobby Wine when he's being arrested. So we do not know any other charges that they are choosing him of.
All right, so here you seem to be interested in going on with that topic. What does that tell you when you see people missing and the government that holds them pretends not to be having any knowledge about?
Yes, it's so sad that one of our comrades, Ashburg Kato, has been kidnapped by this tyrant regime of Mr. Museveni. But we call upon Mr. Museveni and all your colleagues to release the young man, Ashburg Kato. Because today, Ashburg Kato has been, sharing information to the public. So as a blogger, you're denying him his rights, because we've seen such incidents happening years ago in the 1970s when Idi Amin Dada was also kidnapping journalists for writing things that check his government. So if Ashbag Kato is writing, things about Bobby Wine, and for you're saying that's illegal, then that's wrong. And if you're using the military to torture this young man, to hold him incommunicado, and up to now we don't know where he is, that's also wrong. So we call upon all the stakeholders in this regime of Mr. Museveni to release the young man as soon as possible, because we are going to put pressure on this government. We cannot see young men being kidnapped like this each and every time. He was kidnapped in broad daylight for speaking power to truth, speaking truth to justice. So if Mr. Museveni and the army guys are responsible and they have this guy, why can't they bring him to public? And we know that Ashbag Kato is in such and such a detention place. So if you put a civilian in a military barracks, because Ashbag Kato has never worked in any military.
He has no military training. He has never held a gun. Why keep him in military
He has
detention?
never gone to Chankwanzi for brainwashing over the regime. So if you are scared of a young man who is using a keyboard just to disseminate information to Ugandans, then that's wrong. Because yesterday we were celebrating what we call the World Press Freedom Day. And today, if you see journalists and bloggers being treated in such a way, then you're denying them justice. Because today, journalists and bloggers, they act as a mirror to the community or to the country and the world. So whenever you fight a journalist, you are fighting the wananchi, the civilians, because you're denying them access to information. Yet they want to know about what's happening in the world today. So we want to ensure that we get justice for Ashbag Kato, and we pray that he's not tortured, because if he is tortured, those who are responsible for torturing him, they will be brought to books of justice, because we are not going to sit down and keep silent anymore. We are telling the regime of Mr. Museveni enough is enough for abusing our rights because of these high rates of impunity in your regime. We cannot keep silent anymore. So we are going to keep speaking out each and every time. Okay, and again, so if also based on this message, because if you listen to the message of the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, he was telling us about how free press is essential for peace, justice, human rights, and development. So whenever we have journalists or the press, they are helping us to come up with impartial institutions, fair institutions, and also they're helping us to create checks and balances on the governments. So the government should respect the journalists and also should respect bloggers around there.
Sure. So
and this should be also a call to all Ugandans, because today the media is being fought. So we encourage each and every Ugandan to be a journalist of yourself. So if you make a Facebook Live video, you are becoming your own journalist, because this is the way we can beat this government of Mr. Museveni. So I encourage each and everyone to become a blogger, each and everyone to become your own journalist. So engage in disseminating information on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and each other platform you can use.
Yeah. So Sylvia, do you agree with the end of these guys' statements that people should go against the government because bloggers have made it a point to just pick anything bad against the government? Do you agree with their views?
Well, first of all, it's so sad that such a young person is behind bars. If that is true, because I'm not even sure that if it's true, I'm just hearing it from my colleagues here, Sarah. It's really shaming, and it shows that probably the government is in fear, I should say that. But that being said, again, this now goes back to us, the young people. It goes back to us, to the young people. We make 75% of Uganda's population. Let's take action. Let's come out and show the government that they cannot silence the voices of the young people who are challenging the government. This is the right time for us to take action. So I may not believe with Hillary that we come out and, I mean, yes, we are here talking and we talk, but we don't take action, Hillary. This is the same. This is something that always gives me headache. That young people are good at calling up, but they don't take action. No. I'm still talking, the action I'm talking about. For example, if this young man who is trying to make up in life and, you know, with the employment rate of our country and he's going through such, what are those other people doing? I mean, we the young people, what are we doing? Other than, in terms of, have they reached out to the government? Have they petitioned? Have you tried to go to the authorities? Have you tried to go to the police and find out that, you know?
You're going too far.
No, Hillary, I'm not going too far.
Which government are you going to petition when it's kidnapped? Who are you going to petition? He was kidnapped.
On the weekend.
We've been running around looking for someone who has been kidnapped. Who are you going to petition? And why are you petitioning government over kidnap? First of all, what they're doing is illegal.
Call out.
No. It's illegal.
Take
what action you people have been.
We are fighting for our very.
That's what we are doing.
You see, like for example, let me give you an example of, you know, the energy we use when we are welcoming Bobi Wine. You saw what happened to Bobi Wine of recent. Such an energy. I mean, what stops us from using such action?
I want to.
Besides blaming.
You know. The other day when they brought Bobi Wine and put him on TV, and when I heard about Mutabazi stopping journalists, I was concerned because I have a few journalist friends and I have some friends in police as well. So I called them and asked them, what's going on? Are you guys safe? Do you have jobs? And one of these people told me, no, we are okay. There's no chaos. We are we are comfortable. You guys talk too much.
Is he part of, he or she, is he part of the journalists or?
No, this is, let me educate us. These are the people, like Sylvia, they call them the intellectuals of Uganda. The people who say, you guys talk too much. You guys don't take action. All you do is talk. You guys bring chaos. You guys scratch our cars when you riot, when you protest. And it breaks my heart, honestly, to hear intellectuals. You know, people who
stop calling them intellectuals.
No, this is what they call them in Uganda.
No, they are not intellectuals. Stop using such big, important words on people who are blind, foolish, and calling them intellectuals.
Let me make my point.
Don't call them intellectuals. You stop using words.
Let me make my point quickly.
Okay, all right. So let me first.
What do you want me to call them? I'll call them that.
They are the best word to use them. Maybe they are disgruntled people, or they are people who are they do not know basically where they are confused Uganda.
Okay, let me make my point quickly.
After 33 years. We need change in Uganda. You need rocket science to see that everything is wrong in Uganda. They are not intellectuals.
Let me just say something, just a minute. Well,
okay, but I need to make my point.
Moderator, this is where I don't really agree with some of the young people. First of all, why we must, I believe if the young people want to send out the message out there, first of all, the approach, the language we use is very important. On top of that, if somebody doesn't believe in what you believe in, then give that person respect. If I don't believe in Bobi Wine, if I don't believe in Museveni, you got to respect my opinion, because that is my belief. I don't believe in Museveni, you believe in Museveni. Again, I got to be respected. But again, when you start, using hard language, then I also get confused.
What causes Ugandans? Let me explain to you.
I don't think
what causes Ugandans to use the harsh language is the 33 years of impunity, the 33 years of torture, the 33 years of unemployment, unless you do not, if you do not care about young women, young sisters and brothers who are dying in Saudi Arabia, the 33 years of corruption, the 33 years of bribery, the 33 years of nepotism have caused Ugandans to lose their patience and raise their voices.
But
for how long
you don't raise their voices through using...
Let me finish my
point.
Can I finish my point?
What language do you want? What language? You want Ugandans to start holding Museveni and start buttering him as if they are buttering bread. You want Museveni to beg and kneel down for Museveni. Did Museveni buy Uganda? Does Uganda belong to NRM? You want Ugandans to kneel down, to beg, to pray, to do whatever they want and beg Museveni. Why are we begging a man who was a cattle keeper, who came from nowhere and became president of Uganda after killing Ugandans in Lubuurwa, after killing mammoth of Ugandans? He took over power and now we have to beg him to leave us? No, we can't. You do not blame people for using any harsh words. You do not blame people for raising their voices, because 33 years is enough.
I agree.
Yeah, I finish up with the subject before we go to the next.
I agree with Sarah, but I disagree on a few things. But let me finish my point quickly. So these, you said I call them confused. Okay, let me say confused intellectuals. These confused intellectuals of Uganda, they come out and are very gentle about, the pain that Sarah expresses. Do you understand? They come out and they are braggant about, about the 500,000 or 1 million shillings that they make when they, like my friend Sylvia, she flies into America, goes back, she can do that. And there are people in Uganda, there are women in Uganda who are giving birth without gloves. There are women in Uganda where they sell tomatoes on the street, and KCC comes and kicks them off the street without giving them alternatives.
A friend of mine
now,
today,
it is easy.
Just to interject today. A friend of mine today lost a sister.
This is the last time you're interjecting when I'm speaking.
A friend of mine today lost a sister in labor.
Yeah.
It still happens in Uganda where women, you have so many women are dying in labor.
They say 18 every day. But this is my point.
Years.
This is my point. That, I wonder what, I'm more of a humanitarian than a politician. I'm more of a humanist than anything else. And I wonder how, our confused intellectuals sleep at night. How does someone get kidnapped and you come out and say, you guys are not doing anything? Well, what are you doing yourself if you're concerned about the person? All you're worried about is protecting your air ticket and, protecting your... Let me finish because I've been interrupted for quite some time.
Okay, so I'm giving you 1 second.
And you were not protecting me, so let me protect myself.
Just giving you 1 second. I've given you several chances too. So 1 second.
So what I beg for Ugandans to do is educate yourselels. Today it's Ashbag Kato. Tomorrow you're going to be driving. How is
your statement different from her statement about Ugandans educating themselves?
What I am saying is, she says that instead of blaming the person who is, instead of blaming the offender of the crime, she is blaming the victims. No, she's saying that she said that we people... let me finish. She said that we people... You asked me a question. Let me finish. She said that we people, we are not doing enough. Ugandans are not.
But she's expecting to write petitions.
Let me finish.
Instead of calling up Ugandans to uprise and cause a change.
We the young people who make the 75%.
The 75% are not going to write
and we are raising our pain. You see,
75% of Ugandans, we are not going to write any more petitions. Because right now, Bobby Wine has been taken. Bobby Wine was in Luzira for an offense where a law had already been passed and money is being collected illegally. So why are you keeping Bobby Wine in Luzira over a law that has already been passed?
Let's go straight to the
What petitions do you want us to write anymore?
Yes, maybe if I could add before, because it was so imperative also to conclude on this issue of the journalists, because Uganda will lack what we call freedom of press. Because if you look at the order that was passed by the UCC Executive Director Mutabazi, giving a directive order to media houses to suspend 139 journalists.
Who are against the law?
Which law did they break?
Basically, what they did was
what journalists are doing today.
What happened with Bobby Wine?
It's mandated in our constitution of Uganda. So if you look, because for me, I always move with my constitution. If you look at Article 29 of our constitution, it gives them that protection. So, moderator, I don't know if you care to...
I'm not good at reading.
So you see, Article 29.
Article 29,
subsection 1A, yes, gives the rights to the journalists to do their work. So 29 subsection 1A, it says, let me precisely just read this to our viewers. Freedom of speech and expression, which shall include freedom of press and other media. So in other words, this article gives all journalists in our country the right to do whatever they are doing.
But it doesn't give them today, the rights to incite violence in the country.
No one is inciting violence, because one, if you go back to the ethics of the code of ethics or code of conduct of journalists, one, it talks about archeries of journalists. So report the way they report,
facts.
Anything
facts.
You see.
Report as it happens, facts. As you watch it.
Yes. So if you say Bobby Wine has said, thanks for standing with me, and you report it the way Bobby Wine said it. Bobby Wine has said, I thanked Ugandans for standing with him. That's not wrong. I mean, the journalist is saying the fact, what Bobby Wine said. So if the government fears such statements, in other words, let me say it in our own language. Bobby Wine and the reporter says the exact word. Bobby Wine said, then what's wrong with that? The journalist is reporting it, the way Bobby Wine said it. Then the other thing, it says they have to be objective. And they are being objective. They have to be also telling the truth. They are telling the truth. So if the government fears, checks and balances, then it shows how dictators work. And again, look at how the president has been intimidating and threatening journalists. You saw how he threatened Joseph Sabiti of NBS in State House. Even went to the point of speaking Swahili. That enough is enough. You can't, talk ill against the government. So in other words, Museveni is telling us to start watching UBC. But we can't. I mean, this is a free world.
I want to correct
so we have... let me first finish this thing.
He's blocking us from watching anything. Even UBC is in ruins.
Have you seen any letter sent to UBC?
No.
No letter sent to UBC.
But
so
it's in ruins.
It concludes in that, direction. And again, with the kidnaps, you've also had different kidnaps of journalists. Because last year you had the kidnap of Ndaula Stanley, a journalist who does investigative journalism. So he was kidnapped also from
exposing the drug.
One of the hotels. So again, it was ISO that kidnapped Ndaula for also speaking part of truth. So if journalists kidnapped each and every day like that, and we don't condemn such actions, even the government is silent about such actions, then the government is setting a precedent that it's okay for the government to kidnap any journalist.
The problem is
now ask yourself a question: why was Ndaula kidnapped? One, he was also creating checks and balances within the police, because Kalika Ihura had lots of data things was doing in the police, and also the ISO operatives were doing data things. So they were fearing that Ndaula was going to expose them. So where are we going as a nation?
Where were other
Where is the justice for justice for journalists today? So if we sit back and we don't condemn such atrocities to our journalists, then we are setting a precedent to this government. So we have to rise up and tell this government, free the press. And again, look at also the recent report that was released by Reporters Without Borders. So I don't know if, moderator, you saw that report, of any of you saw that report with the ranking. So Uganda was ranked 125 out of 180 countries, in countries that respect the rights of journalists. So if you read that index, so for our dear viewers, if you on Google, I just encourage you to go to, just put in 2019 World Press Freedom Index. Then you look at those ratings. 2019 World Press Freedom Index. So Uganda is ranked 125 out of 180 countries. So it shows we are doing bad law when it comes to respecting the rights of journalists. And again, if you want to understand this index very well, you read it from the bottom. Countries that have abused the rights of journalists. So if you begin from the bottom, reading this index, Uganda ranks 45. But countries that have abused rights of journalists in the world. So you see, if you want to understand these, Sylvia, if you want to understand these indexes very well, start reading the index from the bottom. Now, North Korea was in 179. No, it was the second country from the bottom when it comes to abusing human rights. Then Uganda was holding number 45. And again, if you look at these rankings, they even favored us. Because for me, I believe they didn't, capture each and every
So
you
disagree.
This time, Sylvia, let me just use like two other examples.
Right.
Because remember very well also, our brother who was also beaten, Andrew Ranga of WBS Television.
Yeah.
He was badly beaten by the DPC. By then he was what was his name? At that DPC of Old Kampala police station. You saw him how he was using his baton.
Last year we lost a journalist. He was beaten from Kamocha when there was a riot in Kamocha. He was badly beaten, taken to one of the clinics, and he died. I don't know which publication he was working for or which media house, but he died after some time.
But yes,
one of the
actually, I've gotten the name of that DPC. Let me come to this point, because we have to give examples of journalists who have been abused by this.
Right. So I want to hear from Sylvia.
Then let me just finish up just in a micro presenting projection.
Right.
Then Joram, the officer was Joram Mwesubwa. Right. So Joram Mwesubwa broke this guy's legs. Now the guy is lame. The guy used to work. He was a young person. So Sylvia was mocking young people that they are doing nothing. So this young man of WBS, Andrew Ranga, he was doing his work. Go to the community, get information, then inform the public what's happening.
Get me right.
Let me conclude. I'm going to conclude because I was listening to you guys.
You're 1 second.
No, I'm coming to this question.
You're 1 second.
Was Andrew Ranga given justice? He wasn't, because when he took his case to the courts of law,
did the young people take action? Did the young people take action?
They only gave him 1 million Ugandan shillings, which was peanuts. It was nothing. And now this guy was crying that I used to work on my own, but right now I'm a beggar because this government has ended my career. So the guy wasted, almost 20 years in school. The parents wasted resources investing in his education. And right now the guy is a beggar. He cannot do nothing simply because of the impunity in this government. Where is Joram Mwesubwa today? The guy was promoted. Andrew Ranga is home sitting. His career was ended. Now, it raises eyebrows to we. Now, go to another journalist called James Siakena. Let me finish up with James Siakena. This is the last one. Now, James Siakena works with an international media agency called Reuters. Now, Reuters is based in the UK. This is one of the longest serving news agencies in the world. It was formed in 1951. James Siakena, he was coming from Gulu, from the Human Rights Summit. But then he found out some mess in how is it called, that market where usually
that was the Chiseka market.
Chiseka market. So he was like, okay, I'm a journalist. Now I move with my equipment. I can capture this event. Then from nowhere, the militarized police started beating the journalist. He was holding his camera. He was kneeling down. I'm a journalist. I'm doing nothing. I'm just reporting what
All
I'm
right,
saying on the
Hillary,
scene.
I want to clarify this.
When such scenes go to the international international scene, then it's giving Uganda
All
a
right,
bad
let me
image.
take my
And this
microphone
is
back.
the foundation
All right, guys.
Reporters Without Borders use to rank such countries.
Let me
Hold
take my
on,
microphone
Hillary,
back.
let me clarify on this. When I say young people taking action, I'm not saying that the young people are not doing anything back home. The young people are actually doing incredible work.
Now,
what
young
are you
people are
saying?
contradicting yourself.
Hold on, Hillary, hold on.
Let's hear what you're saying.
Young people.
Let's hear what you're saying.
What type of, I'm not going to interrupt, I'm not going to interrupt.
hold
But
on.
what I'm going to
Let
ask
me
you,
first
as you
finish.
answer
Yes,
that,
yes, first
what
first
type
wait.
of action?
When
Be
I'm talking
specific.
of action, you see like what happened to Sudan. Do you know that young people played a big role?
Is
In
that
South
what we're
Sudan.
doing?
In
That's
South
what is
Sudan.
happening
In South Sudan.
Are you, Sylvia?
But why, like, for example, when I'm here with Hillary, yes, you're calling people to do whatever you want them to do.
Let me ask you a question. Are you indirectly asking young people to go on the streets, or what's your point?
I mean, you can demonstrate peacefully.
You
can demonstrate peacefully. We have that right. We have all what it takes. You can go on streets and
I'm sorry, I'm becoming the
peacefully.
moderator, but Sylvia, what peaceful demonstration has not taken place? I'm going to take you back and answer me. When Bobby Wine was demonstrating on the social media tax and mobile money tax, what was violent about that situation? People holding hands, not doing anything, they're not throwing stones. What was violent about that demonstration?
And
that
it was
had,
approved by
that
the
got,
police.
Yes, like
that
I
got
said.
police to manhandle the demonstrators and throw some of them in jail. Just tell me, you saw that on TV.
Yeah.
If you don't have the video, I can show it to you.
Sarah Joy,
what was
let me
violent about that demonstration?
All right, so I'm going to ask Sylvia to answer that question, then I'll go to the next topic.
You know, Sarah, the thing is like I said, our approach, first of all, as young people, it matters. Yes, we need to lead. We need this country to, we need the president also to
change.
go. We
Okay,
need
good.
change.
Good.
We need, but how is this change going to happen?
Tell
Are
us.
we going to have young people who are going to fight each other? Are we going to have young people in these big positions who are going to continuously use that harsh language? I call it harsh, rude language.
A couple of days ago,
in disguise of chasing out the government. No, that's not
used harsh language.
That won't work. That won't work. For example, if
All
you're coming to me, you want to, let's say Hillary is the police officer. You want to demonstrate peacefully, and you're going to ask for the permission, and you're telling me Hillary already, who is in the position, is a fool. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean,
I
don't get the logic. I don't really understand the logic that young people are using
guys, I want to take back the
to
microphone,
disagree
please.
with the system. Hold on, moderator. First of all, yes, we know. First of all, I know the system, in our system, we have, the problem we are facing is that we have so many people who are self-centered. People who are not people-centered.
The confused intellectuals protecting their jobs.
Protecting their jobs. The confused intellectuals.
No.
When I
say self-centered, I mean people who care for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So
and this is the problem.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. CFTV recently reported that when Bobby Wine wanted to do a peaceful demonstration, he was house arrested. And I believe you read the post, and of course you also watched the news from the local networks in Uganda. Wasn't that enough to show that people are really serious about what's going on in the country? Wasn't there youth involvement in the politics of the country?
Well, I should say, first of all, yes, I may personally as well. I mean, I'm talking as a citizen of Uganda and a proud Ugandan, actually.
But
who is concerned?
Everyone is.
But
who is
no?
We're all Ugandans.
Listen. I'm talking as a proud Ugandan. Who is concerned? First of all, like, it's really it's a shaming to see that the government continuously, misusing the laws, like doing all these acts.
So
Bobby Wine, first of all, I don't blame Bobby Wine. And I know what happened to him. I don't agree with it. First of all, the force that was used behind, I mean, that force that was used behind him, it was too much, it was unnecessary. I really agree with that. It was unnecessary.
Right, so
but again, we don't need to blame, you said how young people reacted.
right.
Yes.
Wasn't that enough to show that people are really involved in the politics? Because he was arrested at home.
And that is now the kind of action I was talking about. That is the kind of action I was talking about. The way how people came out, the way how people, like when he was coming from Ruzira, from the cells, the way he found so many young people waiting for him, that alone is enough to show the government that the government cannot silence the voices of the young people. We have the power, but the way we use our power, the way we gonna call for action is what matters at the end.
You see, Sylvia is contradicting herself on very many things.
No, I'm not contradicting myself. Hillary. No, Hillary. I will appreciate where. I will say the truth where I see it is really the truth, and I will say it is wrong if something is wrong. Like
if you've listened to the recent released song of Eddie Kenzo, System Kolongoto. You could also see some of the people who affiliate with the ruling party, being part of this Volongoto system, because the things they are going to say here, they're going to be contradictory. So now, because she's the same person who has said that young people should come out and act. And again, we're talking about the same example of a young leader, Chagwen Robert Sentamu, who has come to the front line, and he wants to change the status quo. And again, for you, the person who is saying that young people should come at the front lines to change the status quo, you are failing to support him. You are, in other words, criticizing him. Yet this guy has been peaceful in all the things he has been doing. So tell me, at any one event where Bobby Wine has been violent, he has been following all the laws of this government. He has been following also what we call the POMAD, or the Public Order Management Act. So he has been also getting approval from the police. But again, it's the police who's abusing his rights. And we have to know that human rights are all equal and same for all of us. So you cannot treat some of our citizens differently because they have different political ideologies. So we have to be treated equally as all Ugandans. So whatever the government is doing today is wrong. And again, look at also how Nubian Lee was, attacked. Because the guy was peaceful. He was driving his car away to the court. And again, the police was violent. It was pepper spraying him. So if the police says that they don't want to cover such incidents, yet you are the ones who are pepper spraying someone who is peaceful in his car, just driving on the road, on the public road, to the court to seek justice for someone. And again, you committing atrocities to him. Then where is the justice for Ugandans?
One thing I've never understood with the NRM government. I'm listening to her speak, and I'm like, is she on a payroll? Did someone buy her fuel here? Because it really confuses.
You see, that is the problem with the young people.
You know what?
This is the problem that the system is facing.
No, it confuses me. Because I hear this about almost every person who supports the government. They want young people to come out. Yes, we understand you can demonstrate peacefully. But when peaceful demonstrations come up, people are manhandled, people are beaten, property is damaged. And when you look at who is doing all these, it is the police. It is the police. So
but no one blames the police. No one says the police.
What demonstrations are you asking for? Do you want Ugandans to beg? You want Ugandans to kneel and beg President Museveni to leave power? What do you want Ugandans to do? And moving forward, I was watching the program on NBS where Sabit was asking the head of publicity in UCC, and he was asking, yes, you've served us these letters, because I've seen some of the media personalities that have been told to put on suspension.
Sabit is one of them.
No, Sabit is one of them. There is the guy. There is this comedian. Senkubuge is one of them. He asked a simple question to the head of publicity, and he says, as you hand us these letters, because you're saying we are covering Bobby Wine, and in doing that, if you're covering Bobby Wine and Besigye, you have an issue because you're claiming you're citing government. He says, did you hand the same kind of letters to UBC? Because UBC only covers Museveni. And you seem to be having no issue with that. Because we are journalists, we must have a leveled playing field. But the government-owned media house only covers what Museveni does. I think even when Museveni goes to the toilet, UBC will be there with their cameras, so long as it is Museveni. So if you really, really want to promote, and I feel really bad for these journalists, because some of them are professional. These guys went to school. Guys spent 3-4 years in school, pursuing these careers. Some are doing investigative journalism. Some are doing all these kinds of different forms of journalism. And then you're telling them, no, that's not the journalism I want you to do. The kind of journalism I want you to do is every time Museveni does something good, clap. Even if it's wrong, clap. Assume it's good. When you find the bridge cracked in Ginger, lie. Say, show the bridge is cracked, but say, yes, the bridge is cracked, but this is not an issue. Yes, it is cracked because it's going to be amended. It is 2 months until when the bridge has been here for 2 months. But yes, it can be better. When you find women dying in hospital, yes, capture women are dying in, or don't even cover it, or butter it up and say. When you see a journalist being beaten, capture that, but don't show it to the world.
Let me say something about what she's saying.
The same question I keep asking.
The assumption
how peaceful do you want Ugandans? Because I keep getting this from Ofono Pondo and all the rest. Oh, we understand, but we want you to do it peacefully. How peaceful do you want Ugandans to be? Even when they are peaceful, they are being manhandled.
Let me first ask this question.
Let me do information.
Give me 1 second.
General information. So, during slave trade, I'm reading a book called by Frederick Douglass. And during slave trade, and if you look at all the other forms of inhumanity that go around the world, there is a tendency to suppress knowledge. It is during slave trade, blacks did not go to school. Yeah. Blacks could not read or write. Frederick Douglass is the only one who taught himself to read and write. Even when his masters, they would preach, they would go to church, they sit in the back, and these guys were not allowed to read the Bible. They were just told what the Bible said. But this is what I'm saying. If you compare Uganda and, for instance, where we are right now, in Uganda, they are suppressing the knowledge. They don't want to decimate, they don't want the public to know the wrongs that they are doing. But this is the mistake that they have made. As they do these things that praise them, for instance, when they buy the airline, everyone is talking about the airline, right? Even though it's done wrongly. When they build the bridge, everyone's talking about the bridge. When they build a dam, let me make my point.
Your second is always
just allow me to make my point, because I want the viewers to understand what I'm trying to say. That every time they say something, because right now system is volongoto, right? Every time they say something, they are still giving the public information. So when they say they bought an airline, the people are going to ask, how did they buy the airline?
Okay.
Let me make my point. Let me make my point, moderator. How did the government buy the airline, or what's the government's stake in the airline? And they find out that the government is 1%. Still, this information is going to go out. When they build a Isimba Dam, and they say, oh, we built a dam, we've given people jobs, the people will ask, how did the government build the dam when there's no medicine in the hospitals? And the government, oh, we borrowed 85% from China, and we only own 15%, we have to pay back 85%. In the end, this information is going to come out. And Ugandans, I beg us, even us ourselves who are seated here, you need to keep finding and looking for that information and spreading it out to the other people. So that even when the government comes and tries to paint the picture is, you have the clearer picture of the wrongs that the government is doing. So it's a system of trying to stay in governments, but in my view, it is not going to work because
All right, so
information
Sylvia,
is
one of
a
the
basic
things
need.
that the government is so much interested in, especially with the journalists, it says journalists are being influenced by the Western powers or foreign governments. Do you agree with that? Do you like that statement? Is it right for the economy of Uganda?
Well, I'm really not so sure where you're getting that source of information from, first of all.
Yeah, being media personnel, and we always get information. Our
Of course,
sources tell
you
us.
know media personnel, you can say anything, be it truth or false. You, like in Uganda,
One
you
of
have...
the things we respect here at Campfire TV are facts. Before we publish anything, we focus on facts. So that is a fact. The government says Western powers or foreign governments are influencing journalists in Uganda. Do you?
I mean, it could be true or it might be yes or no, but still, it goes back to you as an individual with your profession. For example, let me talk about, I'm not much into media stuff back home in Uganda, but sometimes, but I'm good at reading papers. I watch news, I read papers, different papers, but it is surprising the content that you read in some of the papers. You yourself, you sit back and ask yourself, I'm like, did this person really go to school? And this person really who published this studied what this so-called journalism, I don't know what it's called, is? Because most of the times, like, I don't want even I don't want even to share some of, to share the names, but of course we all know that some of the people, like our media personnel groups, they actually publish wrong information. Leave alone that. Go to this so-called, they call them what? Bloggers? The bloggers. When you go in details about the blogger, when you look at the bloggers, most of the times, they publish unnecessary information.
No, but
you find them publishing about, you find them publishing about family, relationships, things that are not even professional. So when you tell me, wait. You know the problem. This is the problem. First of all, you people from the other side, you don't listen. First of all, you don't listen. You don't respect people's opinions.
But why do you want us to listen to nonsense?
No, you see, this is the kind of language I'm telling you. And you expect now. Do you expect me to go and really believe in what she's saying? No way, I cannot. But let me actually first correct this. Because here we are not under any political party, first of all. I don't think this is a political party. People Power, it's not a political party, first of all. And I'm not here even representing any. No, it's not a political party. It's not. Believe me, it's not.
NRM is not a political party?
No, I'm saying People Power is not a political party. Okay. Yes, NRM is the ruling party, you know. It is the ruling party. But what I'm saying, if we are here, what I'm saying, moderator, what I'm trying to point out is that if I'm appreciating what the system has done, it doesn't mean that I'm sidelining with the ruling government. You are. Listen. No. This is the problem. No, listen. You know why? Because here we are not on any political party debate.
No.
People Power is not a political debate.
You are sitting and
let me say something briefly.
And that's why. No. Wait, Hilary. And that's why I'm freely appreciating both sides. If Bobi Wine was arrested wrongly, yes, I'm obligated to say that yes, indeed, it was wrong.
Sylvia, point of information. Sylvia, let me suggest something briefly. Sylvia.
So, but when I see my colleague, my comrade Hilary saying that People Power, the president is Bobi Wine, it really confuses me.
Don't misunderstand us. You see, as they say that respect does not amount to acceptance. So we respect your ideologies, but we do not personally, I don't accept your ideologies, but I respect them. So that's why I say respect does not amount to acceptance.
And you are entitled not to respect my ideologies.
I also wanted to inform you that there's a difference between journalists and bloggers. So it's totally different.
That's why I said I'm not into that area. It's all on. The information goes online, right?
So anyone can wake up tomorrow and blog. So
and a blogging
but the thing is the information going out there.
And blogging is diverse because
once there's information going out there online, that is the most important thing.
But the history will tell. No, but blogging, one thing you must know, blogging is diverse. A blogger will talk about lifestyle, they will talk about families, they will talk about politics. Blogging is diverse, depending on what a blogger wants to be. There are bloggers who are lifestyle bloggers, there are bloggers who are going
Those
to
are kind of
guys,
yes,
I want to bring you back.
And bloggers in the Western world specify. Because you may find bloggers in Uganda do almost everything.
Exactly.
But right now, no, but don't blame them. What is hot right now?
Why not blame them?
I have to blame them because I have to blame them. Let me say something.
The person to blame here is the executive director, the executive director of UCC Mutabazi, because he just hijacked this office. He is not specialized in this field of journalism.
No, but again,
Mutabazi specialized in aerospace, so he knows things concerning planes, not journalism. So if we want to make sure that journalism becomes strengthened in our country and becomes powerful and respectful, then we have to get someone who is from that field. So we need to get centrists that are going to give us objectivity in journalism. So today, if you look at media houses like in the US, if you look at CNN, it's powerful, it's respected. So you can't just wake up tomorrow and say that I'm banning someone from attending this event. So look at last year what happened when Donald Trump banned the CNN journalist Jimmy Acosta. He went to court and he got justice. And so court said the White House was wrong. They have to give Jimmy Acosta back his pass. So he was able to go back to the court. But again, now here we wake up tomorrow and here we get a directive from UCC, from Mutabazi, who is not even qualified to be and fit to be in this office, and is forcing media houses
to only report about Museveni.
Journalists who started what they're doing.
Well,
this goes back to impunity and the Volongoto system that we are talking about.
Let me inform her quickly. Let me inform
before
you
even
quickly.
let you inform me, because I don't know the profile of Mutabazi, but I think I believe that mere fact that he's in the position, then he must be the right person to be there.
Let me inform
he's qualified for that position.
Listen, 1 second.
So you can't say he's the right person when you don't know his qualifications.
I'm saying the mere fact. That's why I use the word the mere fact that he's in the field.
So
he's there. That means
this is wrong. This is wrong.
Let me interject a little bit.
If today I bring
you have so many unqualified individuals holding positions.
Exactly.
They do not even belong to in Uganda in Museveni's regime.
Which is true.
So many unqualified individuals
but
who are holding. You find a minister of health.
I'm not okay with that.
No, you find a minister of health. Run by a former. And you have so many. You know why ministries are not functional. Let me say this. You have so many ministries that are not functional. You have so many offices that are not functional because they are run by unexperienced people. You are run by wrong people, because as a minister of health and all this, you have, if they were really passionate, if they had gone to school and studied and mastered medicine or understood what it takes to be a doctor or to handle medicine, because not everyone is a doctor when they study medicine, they would not let the situation. I've just been seeing Bajo's live and seeing what is happening in Mitiana Hospital. Just go to Mulago here. The other time someone was in Mulago, she recorded a video of what was happening in Old Mulago. I shared that video with Kakensa. It is terrible. But because you have ministries run by amateurs, you have ministries run by anyone who is willing to please Museveni. You have ministries run by the old guards who are so expired, they do not know what is happening in the 21st century. They belong to the 20th century.
You see, this is why I say
those are the people running. You have ministries.
Why I say that
you have ministries
people are
run by
self-centered.
So okay, I want to take out that debate and when we go.
No, let me just respond to something.
According to Sunday Monitor, there are new polls in which President Museveni's rates are really going down to 32%. What do you guys think about this? Is it a new development?
I think Monitor lied. It must be 0.001.
Now you respond.
I am telling you.
The good thing she said, I think Monitor lied. Now you can see the professionalism of our journalists.
Because let me tell you one thing. I do not know. You see what is happening in Uganda right now? Even if Museveni, I do not, whatever is happening in Uganda right now, it is going to be very hard for him to control. The situation is out of hand. And the situation is out of hand because you have the 75% of Ugandans who are totally disgruntled. It is a few The 75% like Sylvia, who board, come to America, have lunch, and they go back to Kampala and have dinner. Let me hope it's not taxpayers' money you're enjoying. If it is, you know, I am very sorry. But if it is not, you have a very few, like Sylvia, who are privileged, who are lucky, or maybe she comes from a lineage where they're enjoying, the parents enjoy taxpayers' money, or they were lucky the parents got a deal in government, or the husband is working in State House, or the husband works in one of the ministerial posts, or the husband is connected to someone. You have a few of those who are enjoying the privileges. And when they speak with a lot of arrogancy, they speak with a lot of ignorance, they speak from a place of not knowing what is happening. If you ask Sylvia what is happening in Mulago, I don't think she has been even to Mulago Hospital. These are the few who go to Kororo. They go to KIU. When you ask her what is happening at the women selling tomatoes in Kalere market, she does not know. She is so detached from what is happening on ground. She is so detached. All she knows is leave Kampala, board a plane, first class plane, come to America, have lunch, go back to Uganda, have dinner, have matoke, the next day board, come to America. So detached. The majority of the 75%, you have a big portion, some portion of them, they travel every time to Saudi Arabia. Hold up a second. They travel to Saudi Arabia, they return as dead bodies to Kampala. They're in Saudi Arabia being used, sexually abused. Young girls, from 16 years, are sexually abused by 4-5 men. They come back with HIV. These girls are tested before they travel. They come back with HIV. That's what you have. You have majority of Ugandans who are educated. They've gotten degrees, but they are in Uganda.
But you know,
they are in Uganda jobless, doing nothing. You have majority of Ugandans,
Sarah,
whereby parents are paying school fees. You do not know what it means to pay for your child's school fees. And then after school, you continue to take care of them. They give birth to children, you start to continue to take care of those children.
Sarah,
what is happening in Uganda right now, the majority, the 75% majority of them have woken up. And the virus that has kicked in, you can never take it back. Not even Museveni. That's why you see Museveni is in a panic. Bobby Wine is supposed to appear in court, but they are panicking. Over Bobby Wine who has no guns, he has to appear, he has to, you know, do a video conferencing from Luzira prison, and they're using VPN. And I'm wondering, how do they use VPN, yet they are the same people? You see what is amazing about this government? I have people, I have members of my family.
Let me finish up. None of us can talk like Sarah. No. Let me finish up my point.
I'm listening to her.
Let me finish up my point. It is so absurd. Let me finish up my point.
Wait.
It is so absurd that you have members of the ruling party, the members who passed the same social media tax law, are using VPN. And you wonder, what kind of
let me ask you, it appears to me that three of you support people power. And yours claim people power has 75%
But what
of
is
support.
people power? There is nothing like people power.
Let me finish up, Sylvia. Let me finish up. But when you look at the polls, Bobby Wine for now has only 22%. What does that tell you? Are you guys doing a great job?
No,
or
people power is not a political party.
This is what I was going to say. This is what I wanted to say when you let Sarah speak the whole time.
Yeah, you know. And even before we go there, let me first clarify this.
Now you're letting her speak.
Yes, let me clarify something. You know, Sarah talked of me going, coming, with those things.
Yeah, but you have privileges for that, right?
Yes, I have the privilege and I thank God. But it's not that I come from a very poor family. I come from a poor family, first of all. And it's not that everyone who comes here, by the way, comes under the government. No, we don't come under the government. Like I said last time on the show, that if the government has done something good, I will appreciate. But if it has done something wrong, I will talk about it. And why? This is why I was calling you guys for collective efforts. But when you guys stay here, actually me, for example, it's me alone who is going back to take action. You guys are here.
You face the government when you go back.
You're not doing anything, actually. You guys are not doing anything apart from...
Alright, so let me ask Hama to...
No.
This is a day of work. Do you know how much
example,
money?
Imagine if Sarah comes in Uganda, if Sarah was in Uganda, we have this collective effort as young people.
This is a day of work. Do you know how much money? Do you know how much money I miss by sitting here?
No, hold on, sir.
This is a day of my work to come and add my voice to the cause.
Alone, going back alone in Uganda.
But who is going to
Sarah here talking?
You're not going to something that will not.
I won't support
thank
that.
you. Harman, what did you have to put forward? Because
I am overwhelmed. But quickly.
But also first clarify that People Power is not a political party.
Okay.
You also have to clarify that.
No, People Power is
it's not a political party.
Yeah, I agree. And
can you clarify that?
Yeah, let me clarify.
Okay.
People Power is not a political party. Okay. People Power is a movement. And
a movement of what?
A movement of people
I
who
thought
want
you
change.
didn't want Sarah to interrupt. Now you're interrupting me. You asked me a question. I want to
I
respond.
want the viewers to, and especially those who don't know what People Power means, because we have our constitution here, yes. But you have to clarify this People Power thing, because it's like here we are debating among People Power and NRM, and yet we don't have NRM representatives.
We are debating. I think NRM. You're not NRM.
No, I'm not.
And I am People Power. I think
People Power is not a political party. That is my concern.
Listen, okay, let me educate her, because she seems quite ignorant. People Power is a principle. It's a principle that we have the mandate, we have the responsibility to be heard as people, as natives, as citizens of the country. And that we have the ability to choose who takes the country forward, who becomes president. We have the ability to voice our views. It is not a political party. And when you believe something, it doesn't have to be political.
So what is then the agenda?
I'm soon going to the online people to ask some questions. So I want Harman to finish it. Yeah.
I don't see the agenda. I don't see the agenda apart from
this is the agenda. And if you're confused, the agenda is that if someone like you, or if yourself, go to Mulago and there's no medicine, you voice your view and say no. And this is how we are.
Do I have to? Okay.
Do you have to what?
No, continue.
So this is where you go to the ballot and voice your views and vote for someone with principle. The leader of People Power did he come under People Power when he came to Parliament? No, he's an independent person, but he's
leading an unknown party, right?
Leading a movement. Understand the word. It's a movement. It's a wave. It's an energy. It is a point of education.
It's
a sensitization.
Revolution.
Call it what you will. But and that is why I wasn't interrupting so much, because I don't want to yell at you and you yell back at me. I want to talk about principles. For example, you broke my heart when you said, bloggers are doing nothing.
No. I didn't say that.
This is what you said.
I don't understand what.
Okay, let me educate you.
That is different from saying bloggers are doing nothing, because some of them give wrong information.
Okay, let me.
That was my point of argument. But I didn't say
you implied
bloggers are doing nothing.
Listen.
No.
All right, so this is what I don't want. I don't want to yell when you're speaking. I want you to listen. So, bloggers, first of all, you have the right to information. And God, if you didn't know, God gave you the mind to choose what to believe and what not to believe. So if you want credible information, you fact check. Okay? So if someone says, if someone goes on the internet and starts swearing, or being insulting, and you are the one who sought them out. Actually, it's surprising. The confused intellectuals in Uganda, they are the ones, if you look at people who swear, people who insult others on the internet, they are the ones who are most followed. And who are the people who can afford internet and data? It's the confused intellectuals. Right. So someone comes and says, bloggers, if you look at the information, it's because they've been looking at that information themselves and they know the material that's on there and they are keeping on following those people. Instead of listening to principles and facts and fact-checking and searching for knowledge and educating yourself so that you have an independent opinion. My point is, you choose the information that you take in. Okay.
Just allow me to add something.
So here you're going to be the last person. I'll ask one question to Sylvia, then I go to the people who are watching us online.
As I said, because our comrade here, Sylvia, I think is confused about people
People
power.
power, yes.
Yes, but let me just give you a microprosemic projection about people power. People power is a pressure group that wants to change the status quo in our country because we have been manipulated for 33 years and we have been, lacking the power that was given to us by the Constitution, this Constitution of Uganda. So Article 1 talks about the sovereignty of the people, that we, the people, have the power. So if you go back to the preamble of the Constitution of Uganda, it talks about the power of the people. So today, as I talk to you, we don't have power. It has been taken by the junta, by dictator General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. So people power is non-partisan. It has people from NRM, DP, FDC, JEMA. So it has the rich, it has the poor. It has the educated, it has the illiterate. It has the tall, it has the short. It has the brown, it has the dark. It has the able, it has the disabled. So it has each and everyone who was discontent with this regime of Mr. Museveni. So in other words, for us, we want to change the status quo because we are saying enough is enough. The time is now to claim back our power that was given to us by the Constitution of Uganda. Even if the government has raped this Constitution, not once, not twice, but we have the mandate to claim back our power and fix the mess this dictator, Mr. Museveni, has left in our country. And we are saying that we are going to use our numbers, mainly as young people, because we've been not been actively engaged in politics of our country.
No,
but today we have young leaders now who are coming at the front lines. So we are calling upon each and everyone, whether you are a religious leader, a cultural leader, anyone from any part of the country. So we are not tribalistic. So each tribe is invited to join this pressure group to change the status quo, because this status quo is affecting the 40 million Ugandans. So we are all affected directly and indirectly. Unless we act up now, we are still going to be in this mess of Mr. Museveni. So that's why we are telling Mr. Museveni, the time is up. He has to go and we fix our country to make Uganda the pearl of Africa again.
I want to ask her a question. Have you understood?
No,
that's why I'm curious. I'm curious. No, let her answer.
All right, guys.
Let her answer. Has she
She's
because I want to recruit her so that she understands.
She has been attentively listening.
Have you understood?
She has understood.
Have you understood?
All right. So,
have you understood?
Let me go to the.
Is it clear now?
Let me go to some of the questions that are coming from.
Because you might have wasted our time and still not understood.
I want to go to some of the questions that are coming in from online. Of course, there's so many questions, but I want to be honest with you, especially you guys. Sometimes you don't have your gadgets, or sometimes you're not in position to see the comments on screen. Most of the comments are really against you. I want to be honest with you first.
Definitely, of course, that is an obvious case.
People do not believe in what you're saying. That's what's going on here. But others believe in what you're saying. So the question is, are you scared that when you go back to Uganda, you'll be arrested? That's why you support the NRM government? That's one of the questions that come in.
Like I said, we are not here in this guise of any political party. And that's why I asked the question, is people power a political party?
No, it doesn't have to be a political
party.
Hold
on. He said no. Answering the question, because of that, I'm not an NRM person. I support
people power.
So basically,
the problem goes back. Young people always want us to believe.
No.
What they believe.
No,
in.
but I
respect what you believe.
But all our explanations about what the government is doing.
Back to the question to whoever is asking, I'm not representing the government, or I'm not representing NRM, and I'm not speaking because I fear. I mean,
so who are you representing?
On me when I go back to Uganda? No, but why? I mean, I'm obligated. I mean, it's my right to appreciate if I have seen something good. And it's also my right not to appreciate if something is wrong. And that's why when we were speaking here, you talked of Bobby Wine. I said, yes, the force that was used behind Bobby Wine it was excessive.
But again,
and it was,
but again, you
I am
submitted.
entitled to that. I am entitled to that.
But again, you submitted.
When you guys all come to me and say that, oh no, because I'm supporting NRM, I don't support NRM.
No, but you're confusing and you're confusing the viewers.
No. I'm an individual.
No, you're confusing
about what is right.
What is exactly, wrong. But you're confusing the viewers. If you come and say the power that was
my right and my choice. And I'm not using any harsh language. But again, if I'm here and, like for example, let's say, I think also young people, we need to change our approach. First of all...
okay, thank you. We need to change the approach.
Let me just give Sylvia.
But let me first talk to the people who are watching us online. To be honest, we welcome all the views from the, what these guys discuss here. Whatever you say is really important. So we are now looking into more of your views that are coming in, and I want to read them. But most of the questions really are going to her, and I want questions that really come to everyone and your views about what we're discussing. And of course, like I mentioned to you, that most of the comments are coming because you support NRM.
And
so that is very important.
I'm not supporting NRM.
So then you're confusing the viewers.
All right, guys, let me first finish up. So to the people who are watching us from wherever you're watching us from whichever country.
We are representing the movement.
All right, let me first finish up with the members who are watching us online. From wherever you're watching us from, please send us your views per the discussions we have today. We looked into the journalists who are being banned from performing their duty as journalists. And of course, Bobi Wine's arrest. The polls of President Museveni, they have declined from the 50s or 70s, just as it was in the previous years, to now 35, according to the Sunday Monitor today. But the question still stands. Bobi Wine, who is mostly loved by the youth in Uganda, according to the polls, he has 22%. Do you guys agree with what is going on per the polls, or there is something hidden?
Let me respond.
By the way, on that issue of the polls, because personally, I'm a realist.
She said the Daily Monitor.
Yes, personally, I'm a realist. I don't believe in polls, because what polls do, they just randomly sample people, so they can get about 100 people. Then they do a survey and they come up with their data. So it cannot predict. It cannot conclude on the actual 40 million Ugandans what they believe in. Yeah. So personally, I believe that we as young people, we have the numbers that are beyond what the Daily Monitor polls show. So we believe that Bobi Wine has the numbers to defeat this dictator, Museveni. And again, I wanted also to make a point of correction to Sylvia, because she was here lamenting that we as, some of us, the four, are going to stay here in diaspora, and for her, she's going back home.
No.
So we are doing nothing. Let me just say something. I wanted to inform you that diaspora plays a very big role when it comes to changing the status quo in our country. If you look at the contribution of the people from diaspora to our GDP, it's about 4%. So you cannot undermine the role that people in diaspora are playing.
Yeah.
No. I think you got me wrong. No. Don't generalize this.
Because you said for you, you're going back. I still recall what you said. You said for you, you're going back home, so you're going to do something for us. We're here, we're doing nothing. We're just speaking, and we're staying
Hillary,
here.
I say, first of all, if we young people need the change we want to see. Let me clarify, then you add on.
I listen to you.
I listen to you.
So here I finish up, Sylvia will come in,
and now, I wanted to give you also examples. Because if you look at the recent revolution you've been talking about in Sudan, diaspora played a very big role to defeat dictator Omar al-Bashir. So, because we've been here, we've been seeing the people from Sudan, diaspora who are based in DC, what they've been doing. We've been with them at the United Nations headquarters in New York. We've been with them at the World Bank. We've been with them at the White House. So we've been seeing what they've been doing. And also we have pressure groups from Sudan at my university. So I've been seeing them. So revolutions play a big role. And again, if you also recall the history of our country, you know very well that Mr. Museveni also went to diaspora. He was in Sweden.
Oh, definitely.
You know it very well. You know it very well that Gen Kataha Museveni was in Sweden. Remember? You know it very well that Mbabazi also was lobbying, raising funds for the guerrilla struggle, guerrilla war, but he was based in Kenya. You know it very well that Ruhakana Rugunda, the Prime Minister of Uganda today, he was also doing his lobbying work from Zambia.
Right, so, the list is endless. The list is endless.
Now,
let me correct this. Let me...
This goes back to
just give me a minute, I correct this.
Today you see what Ugandans... No, let me finish up, because I'm showing you the role of Ugandans.
No, that's what I want to correct.
I'm coming.
Because it's like you are saying, it's like you are pointing out that I'm saying diaspora people are doing nothing.
That's what you say.
No, listen, Sylvia, listen.
Let me correct myself.
I'm coming.
Okay,
now,
guys, let me take back my microphones, please. Let me take back my microphones.
All right.
Before you finish up, there is a question from the online. Romero Andrew says, when will you have things to talk about on your show than wasting time on politics, supporting someone who has no brains and only has Uganda support? I think it's in reference to Bobi Wine. There is an assumption that he has support from only Uganda. How would you respond to Andrew Romero?
Yes, I think Andrew has just missed...
such a good question.
No, Andrew has just missed...
It's a good question.
No, but again...
He has just missed what I was telling you about people power, because when I was
but
defining
again,
what people power is,
but again,
I was very clear. I said it's not tribal. So if he comes out with such a statement that people power is only for the Baganda, then I think...
Let me help you break it.
Can I help you break it up?
Because I don't want to. Let me break it out. Let me break it down. Let me break it out. Let me break it down a little bit. From that question.
Let me take my microphone.
No, please.
I want to give Sylvia a chance. Then I will come to Sarah.
Oh, then skip me. Okay, I understand.
Yes, you say moderator. This is why I will again.
You're responding to this question. You respond to this question.
Yes, my opinion is in reference to that.
Do you believe Bobi Wine doesn't have the brains and is only supported by people power, Baganda people?
It takes me back. That's why I was asking my fellow young people here to educate us on what this movement is.
But
the problem is they are misinterpreting us to be NRM, to be fools, to be stupid, to be hooligans, which is not the approach. And that is why I was telling you, our approach as young people as well matters. Because I will not be offended by somebody calling me stupid online when actually the person who is, when we call for people to come out, okay, we are saying we want to do this and this, you are not coming out, but you are backing behind bars. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. But again, coming back to hold on. Coming back to this question, I think also again the language that Andrew, whoever is talking, the language he's using is totally wrong. He can give out his point without even calling somebody being stupid, whatever he called Bobi Wine. Because personally, I believe Bobi Wine is a young leader who has won so many hearts of young people, who is into music. His music, the message that where he talks about people's the issues that people face. Right. And this is Bobi Wine's message. So him calling that, and anybody, by the way, hold on, and anybody can be a president. Bobi Wine can be a president. Hillary can be one. Sarah can be one. So the language that we use, I will emphasize on this, the language that we are using online also matters, and the approach that we young people are trying to use as well matters a lot.
All right, Sarah, come in.
Sylvia, he took over 3-4 minutes explaining what the People Power Movement revolution is all about. We are not going to waste, and I'm telling you from the beginning of this show, when we started it, there's a time I did a full show on what People Power the movement is all about. I think you should, you said you do not engage so much on what happens on social media. You need to, because you have so many individuals right there explaining. I think where Ugandans are, we've moved away from the stage of trying to explain and understand what is people power. Now we are at a stage of action. Before, when we started, we took time to educate. Now when you go deep down, even when you go to the village, most times when when I see either individuals involved, activists back in the village trying to get to these people, even people in the villages now know what people power is. They know this is a movement that is fighting tooth and nail to say that they bring change in Uganda. We've moved away from the stage of explaining what is people power. We are at the action stage. So we've moved away. If you're not, it's only you people who support the ruling government who pretend as if you do not understand what the movement is all about. But I know, you know, it is the pretense.
Okay,
now going back.
But if it was that, even
going back to the question you asked from one of the viewers, I want people to understand. They should understand how Bobi Wine has been operating. When Bobi Wine went to Busoga, when he was campaigning for Mwiru, Bobi Wine is not a Musoga. But we saw how he massively preached the message of change and had Mwiru win that election. When he went to Bujiri, you should understand this is not the first time Basarira has tried elective politics. He has failed before. Yeah. So Basarira, unless you did not watch the campaigns, if you did not follow the campaigns, the message in Bujiri was all about was unifying. The message was getting the youth, all the voters together. The message didn't have, the people in Bujiri, I didn't hear anyone saying that, Bobi Wine, Uganda, what are you doing in Bujiri? The message was very clear. It was going to the electorate and they understood the message, he won Bujiri. Let's go what happened to Arua. Arua, Bobi Wine is not from Arua. I doubt whether he knows how to speak the language. But we saw how massively they managed to win an election when he was behind bars. Exactly. Let's go what happened in other areas. Let's take it again from Chadondo East, where he won by 80%. I come from Chadondo East. That area is full of so many tribes. Baganda, Nani Baganda. And again, for someone to claim that Bobi Wine has support from Uganda, I don't think whether he's exposed enough. Uganda has been immersed by intermarriages that it's very hard to find that this is the portion where Baganda live. Everywhere, I stay here, my neighbor is a Mnyoro, my neighbor is a Mtoro, my neighbor is a Mcholi. So Uganda has been, it is now a mixture of everything that you cannot come out and say, this community, it is only for Baganda. And that unifying and that mixture has led to what you call, because let me throw in this a little bit. I had someone, I think one of the guys who does the morning show on NBS, the Haji, was talking about, if you're not careful, there's going to be, what did he call it? What happened in Rwanda? What was it? A genocide. And I was asking myself, where's the genocide coming from? In Rwanda, the genocide was very easy because they have only 2 tribes. They have the Hutus and Tutsis. In Uganda, you have 57 tribes. Where's the genocide going to come from? It is completely hard. And again, the biggest tribe in Uganda, which is the Baganda, is already mixed up. There's a lot of intermarriages. It is very hard to find a Muganda and a Muganda.
Bobi Wine and Babi.
Bobi Wine and Babi. So a genocide does not work in Uganda anymore because there are so many intermarriages. If I follow up your lineage, we are going to find it lost the Baganda blood somewhere. So you cannot have a genocide in Uganda.
All right, so thank you.
With the breakdown of so many tribes.
What's the name of the guy? Andrew who?
Let's take Andrew.
Andrew, okay. So my name is Ainebiona Haman. I am a Munyankole from Bushen. And look at the hat I'm putting on. Does that answer, Andrew? Second, I think
he was specific to people from...
No, he mentioned about Uganda.
So, you'd see that kind of nepotism that Andrew is talking with is typical of Museveni, because when you look around him...
He's already branded.
No, it's typical. It's typical. It's typical. Look at all the PGBs. Look at the people who are close to Museveni. Look at the people in high offices. I am one of the unfortunate Banyankole, and there are many others of us who believe in people power. The other problem I have with people like Andrew, and I'm going to add Sylvia on the list, he just educated you about people power, the movement. And I seriously am asking you, did you understand? Because we can yell at each other, but this movement is more about education and knowledge and knowing what your rights are and knowing the principles we stand for. So I want you to understand so that when you go back to Uganda, you also define people power the same way he defined you, the same way I defined it, the same way she explains it. So that you're not resistant to this humanitarian effort. I see it more humanitarian than anything, because people are being shot at live range. Kidnapped. People are dying. Do you understand? So when I ask you, did you understand? I don't mean far. I'm not just speaking for fun. I want you to understand so that when I say people power, you say our power. People power. No. That is why we are here. We are not here to waste time.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, maybe so the last thing that can
I want to finish up. I want to finish up.
Live here to understand people power. I kindly.
No. Actually, just say Andrew.
Just
say Andrew. Explain.
All right, Sylvia and Andrew or others couldn't understand people power. I kindly implore them to listen to the song called Tuliyambale Ngule. So when they hear the message in that song, I think it will resonate with them.
Unifying.
About the ideology of this.
All Bobby Wine songs, Time Bomb, Biekwa.
No. I mean, Bobby Wine has been one person who his message is all about social justice.
Good. You're moving in the right direction. This is progress. You guys are making progress.
No, hold on.
I want to take you out from there. Let's conclude with the Ofonopondo statement today on Capital Gang.
Let me start off with Ofonopondo. Right. You know, I've always been harsh on Ofonopondo, but I know Sylvia, with this assertion, I know Sylvia is going to mention something, but at the end of the day, that's me. I think Ofonopondo, he's one guy who was, every time I listen to him, he speaks with a lot of ignorance and a lot of arrogance.
He's a government spokesperson who has the power to defend the government.
It's not the power.
I'm telling you, my assertion would be, Ofonopondo should specialize in stealing underwears. I think he does that job very well. Stealing underwears. But when it comes to things of representing, talking about the issues of Ugandans, and having him, use that language that bars Bobby Wine. Oh, Bobby Wine should be careful. He should be careful. He should specialize in stealing underwears. He's very good at that. He got away with that case. I don't know whether he has been. I do not know why he was never.
My view.
Can I go?
Let me finish. I don't know why he was never sentenced or for that. But let him. The issues of what has to do with Ugandans and what hurts Ugandans, and him giving warnings to Bobby Wine that he's going to be stopped, though he has, because his statement was Bobby Wine has backing from the international community, he's going to be stopped. Museveni is a joker. Him and the likes of, and I'm telling you, when hell opens loose, the likes of Ofonopondo will be the first one to take off. You will not even see where they will go through. Because if you say, we are going to contain them, if the likes of they don't watch their surroundings. You have what is happening right now in Sudan. This guy has backed down. You have all what has happened in African countries. You have Venezuela, the guy was resisting. He finally had to go. So you cannot wake up and start telling us, you're going to contain the situation, even if you have international backing. I'm telling you, Museveni is not the omega and alpha of Uganda.
All right.
At any point in time, Museveni is going to go. Because if Ofonopondo is speaking for government, and they are trying right now to come up and threaten, because for me, that's a threat that went to Bobby Wine direct, and it is, when he speaks for government, he's speaking for Museveni. It is Museveni using Ofonopondo to threaten Bobby Wine. Right. And now, my final assertion to Ofonopondo, please, you are wasting time and you're not going to threaten Bobby Wine. It is no longer Bobby Wine alone. You have over 75% of the population who want change. Bobby Wine is just a one portion. He's a voice louder than us. He's a force. He's a force bigger than that. He's a unifying force to all of us who want to see change in Uganda.
Okay, let me hear from Hamani on some point.
As someone who likes to educate, I'll stick with that thing. I like sharing knowledge and information, and I'm not entirely biased. I disagree with Sarah on a tiny thing. I agree with her on most things, but this one I disagree. Ofonopondo stole underwears. The problem is that he was not, convicted or whatever, as we all know. But it's been a while, so maybe he has changed from stealing underwears. And
let's look into this. Let's focus on the statement made.
Yeah,
let's focus on the statement made.
My point is, maybe he has abandoned stealing underwears and now he's into killing people. because
No, his statement was
They
very
have it
clear.
as
I
almost
will
the
stop
same.
I want to
Bobi Wine,
fi-
and
I want-
that's what I want you to focus on.
he said Bobby Wine, they are going to suppress him, right? And that is what I'm saying. He left stealing underwears and he moved to killing. This is what happens when there's no consequences for actions. Ofono Opondo should be branded a thief, clearly. But he wasn't punished enough, and he hasn't changed clearly. His situation, his condition is worsening to killing people, because when he talks about suppressing people, we are seeing people shot at live range, we are seeing tear gas thrown at demonstrators, we are seeing people dying in hospitals, we are seeing Ashbag Kato kidnapped. So this is what happens, and what People Power and Bobby Wine teaches us is that when he is given the opportunity to run the country, which will happen, there will be consequences for actions. When someone steals an underwear, he should go and serve his sentence for theft, and maybe he can learn and step back. But when you don't punish, a bad child, then you spoil the person.
All right. So let me go to Sylvia. Ofono Opondo's words were very clear that they will suppress Bobby Wine. Do you agree with that?
I may somehow disagree, because first
People
of all,
you say our power. You're moving. This is progress. Me, I'm proud.
I mean, Bobby Wine has his rights that are enshrined in Uganda and the international law. So I don't disagree with the statement. I don't agree with him saying that, sorry. However, I disagree with Sarah, and this takes me back to the way I said, our approach as young people and the respect that we give to each other also matters a lot. And this is how we're going to show that we are ready for these, for the leadership positions that we are fighting for and all that kind of thing. Because when Sarah openly on such a media platform, you come out and say that the spokesperson of government is a thief. Ignorant and stupid, whatever it is. I don't agree with that.
I said arrogance. I said arrogance.
Did you say arrogance?
I said arrogance.
Something like
yes.
that. And
you're afraid to say I called him a thief, and he's a thief. That's what you want to say. You want to say that I called him a thief.
Let me finish.
Thank you guys.
Such a language, personally, it's not that, like I said, I'm not. I will tell you that this is wrong and this is right. It's not all about being NRM or People Power or whatever the case it is.
But ignorance is not an insult.
I think we also young people, we need to revise our approach and the way we deliver our message.
You're in shock. The way you're looking at Sylvia's submission, you're overwhelmed. You're like, what is she talking about?
Well, Sylvia is trying to dodge the statement. But again, whatever Ofono Opondo said, it's already in reality. So they're already suppressing Bobby Wine. So there is nothing new he's talking about.
But he has a strong view that he's being influenced by foreign powers.
Because, and this is a lesson now to Ugandans, that whatever is happening in Bobby Wine is coming to all the sectors in our country. Because little did the media houses know that the regime is going to treat them this way. So this is now a lesson to each and every Ugandan, that you're there in your comfort zone, but tomorrow is going to happen to you. That this government is no longer ashamed of doing nothing. So tomorrow they're going to suppress each and every one. So
talk about Bakaleke.
What's that?
Talk about Bakaleke.
Yes. Now
even people who are for the government, they are being suppressed.
The sentiment of the hunter is now being hunted, and now you see, like, because look at what happened in the recent court hearing. Because if you bring the guy Bobby Wine on this video teleconferencing, it was legally wrong, because they tell you that for you to do such a thing, you have to first get approval from the Supreme Court. But this magistrate court never got any approval from the Supreme Court. So the magistrate court is at the bottom. If you are looking at at the hierarchy of our courts. And the Supreme Court is the one that has the appellate jurisdiction. So now, when Ofonopondo says that, Bobby Wine, of course, is getting support or backup from Western allies, what's wrong with that? Because these are the guys who are, pouring lots of millions and millions of dollars in our country to change the status quo. They are helping us with different projects to ensure that they remove Ugandans in the absolute poverty they are living in. So they are concerned about the money they are putting in this regime. Because if you said the U.S. government, the U.S. government is backing up Museveni with military support, and Museveni is rather misusing the funds to buy tear gas, to buy mambas,
to give out
our rights, then the U.S. is concerned about their money, because this is taxpayers' money from U.S. And the U.S. is accountable for that amount of money.
So in other words, in support of Bobby Wine selling Uganda to the Western world?
He's not selling Uganda. When did he sell Uganda to the Western allies?
But are you comfortable Uganda? Because Uganda is being sold to the Chinese right now.
Right now, look at how much are we getting from the European Union. Look at the budget, because they're revising the budget right now. Soon they will be reading it. How much are they planning to borrow from these Western allies of ours? How much are they planning to borrow from China? And do you think the donors shouldn't be concerned about how we are misusing the resources?
And the money,
they shouldn't be concerned about the cancer of corruption in our country, Uganda. They have to be concerned, because at the end of the day, they have to be also accountable for the amount of money they are giving to countries like Uganda. And again, it's also, it should be a lesson to Ofonopondo, because ever since he has been working for this government, he has seen lots of regimes. You've seen different spokespersons of governments. But whenever a revolution happens, you don't see them anywhere around.
Okay. So
they may speak with that arrogance, as Sarah has said. But again, once reality comes of a revolution, you won't see them anywhere.
Yeah. All right,
Today, Sylvia, ask yourself a question. Where was the spokesperson of Omar el-Bashir in Sudan, who was showing, the support, that they have the support? Where is the spokesperson of Muammar Gaddafi? Where is the spokesperson of Hosni Mubarak of Egypt? Where is the spokesperson?
I can't go. My question was basically, were you in agreement with Ofonopondo's statement, and you clearly disagree with that? So I want to thank you guys
for me, this is nothing, because we've seen also Museveni, when Museveni was coming to power, of course he had the backup of Sweden. So why was Sweden backing him up? Because they didn't believe.
So you guys have been many, and you're almost on one side. So
if you give us a final submission,
just conclude on this issue, because today the world has to know, and also Ugandans, wherever they are, that we are living in an interdependent world. So we have to, we need each other. So US needs us. Uganda also needs US.
Okay, thank you so much.
So it's not wrong.
I want to start with the Havani, your final submission, within one second. Then I'll go to Sarah. I'll go back to Hilary, finish up with Sylvia.
Okay. So
on today's topics.
My final, my thing is that, nature brought Museveni to power, and nature is going to kick him out. And that's it.
All right. Thank you so much. I was supposed to finish up with Sarah, but
no. Let me do my final submission.
Let me start with Sylvia, and then I'll come back to you. Just to be fair. All right. So
no, but you're not being fair, because
your final submission.
To me, I just call upon young people to recognize themselves that we have the power to change whatever we want to change.
All right, thank you.
And no, hold on, I'm not yet done. And we don't need to misuse the power that we have, and we just need to change the approach of the way we deliver our message out there. How can we be heard, and how are we going to take over? That's that's something that we need to look at. Okay. And also, we should, the government as well should not undermine the power of music. Music is one of the strongest, I think, weapon that any individual can use. It sends out messages.
All
and
right,
so if the government is against all these other musicians about the messages, I mean, the government has musicians like Bebe Cool, who, you know, who supports them, the Catherine Kusasira. Let them also compose songs
all right,
about,
thank you. Here, your final submission.
Yes, my final submission to all Ugandans. This is a message to you that we are on a life support with this regime of Mr. Museveni. So we have the powers as Ugandans to change the status quo. Change is inevitable, and once we rise up, we can defeat this dictator, General Kaguta Museveni, because he's freaking out, he's panicking. Whatever they are doing, it shows that these are the last kicks of a dying horse. So I encourage all Ugandans to come out and engage in constructive conversations on how we can take our country forward and how we can change the status quo, because change is coming. Let's embrace the quote of Thomas Jefferson: when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty.
All right, thank you. Sarah?
My final submission would be, and I'll start off with what he said, that young people should know what they want, but they should know, again, how to ask for it. I think you're trying to ask the young people to, again, pick up Museveni as bread and butter him very nicely and softly. For 33 years, Ugandans have spoken. They have written proposals, they've done debates, they've done all kinds of things, and they've not been heard. And we are not going to use the same tactics we've used for 33 years. It is, you do not blame any Ugandans for being aggressive right now, because maybe 10, 15 years ago, the issue or the problems of Ugandans were not as pressing as right now. So we are not going to hold Museveni with gloves. The gloves are off. People are willing to, to throw punches. Don't blame them. Enough is enough. And the other thing I want to submit is that Ugandans, you have to be very vigilant, and you have to be very careful, because today Ashbag was kidnapped, but Ashbag is a blogger, well known. It was very easy, and it was very fast. It was at a fast rate that we could, identify where he's being kept. And but there are so many Ugandans who do not even have a voice, who are not known, who disappear on a daily basis. So we should be very vigilant. We should know we are dealing with a dictatorship. If you know you engage into fighting this government. I know there are so many Ugandans who have, they are wearing tough skin back home, and they are, they are fighting the regime. Please don't walk by yourself. Walk with someone who is going to be, in case you're kidnapped, in case you're arrested, someone should be able to give us information, and don't keep quiet. Give the information, share it. The bloggers are willing to share it, because you may not be Ashbag. He's well known, he's a blogger, so many voices are going to come up to fight for him. But we want also to fight for so many individuals who are not known, who do not have a name, but they are being kidnapped every day on their villages, from their homes, but they are not known, they don't have a voice. So don't keep quiet, let us know, we'll voice, give us the pictures. But if you know you're engaged in active politics in Uganda, and you add your voice to activism, don't walk alone. Have someone with you who will give information that so-and-so was kidnapped from here and there.
All right, thank you so much. Guys, I can't add on anything from what these guys have shared. I want to thank you so much for being part of Uganda Crossroads, and of course, being part of Campfire TV, Life MTV Live, and also always sending in your comments and discussions. Sometimes we don't read your names when you're reading the comments, but we receive your views and we share them here, or even in the next coming shows. So we want to thank you so much. Keep CFTV, keep Life MTV Live. Coming up next, Love, Sex and Money with K Mo. Thank you so much. Have a nice week. See you next Saturday, same time. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
Lwaki oningiriza life eno yange